The Prince of Pan-Africanism is in the studio,
Yes, ma'am.
studio with me, Dr. Umar Johnson. That's a lot of information. Let's
Yeah.
start with the first thing, sexually confused.
Yes, ma'am. At the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, well, first of all, let's be clear. Legally, you cannot discriminate on the basis of gender or race. So there's no such thing as a child who believes themselves to be homosexual or lesbian. They cannot be excluded from our program, nor will they be. I get those questions all the time.
Okay.
Will you allow gay black boys to come to your school?
Or educators.
Now, with the right, I can't discriminate against the educators either. Exactly. However, let me be clear. I don't desire that population of educators.
Okay.
Okay? We have to save black families. And you cannot save black families if you're not teaching black boys how to marry and build families with black women. Let's be clear about something. Only 1 out of every 4 black women gets married in this country. Black women have the lowest marriage rate in America. So you cannot, on the one hand, say that I support the black family and I want to see black women happily married to black men, and at the same time advocate same-sex relationships.
Because fundamentally, that's some of what is going to be a part of your curriculum. At
No.
school.
We won't teach it. No.
No. What I'm saying in terms of your part of the focus of your programs is to talk about black family, imaging of young black boys. That's what I'm saying. Is that your
one
idea?
of the curriculums is black family. So we want to teach the boys how to be men, how to be fathers.
And you don't believe, I'm asking for the, because I can hear the 2 million people that are listening right now.
Let me clarify.
That you believe, whether or not you believe that a gay man can teach a young black man, for the sake of this conversation, to be a man?
Can a gay black man teach a black man how to be a man?
Yes.
I think he can teach him how to be successful as an adult, but it depends on your definition of black manhood. And part of my definition of black manhood is being successfully married to a black woman. So if you're not successfully married to a black woman, you're not coming to my school to teach my boys anything.
Are you clear on that in terms of the sexuality issue for applying to your school? That was the first issue. The second one.
Well, again, you cannot discriminate in hiring on the basis of sexual orientation. So if a homosexual male, applies to my school, he'll be interviewed like everyone else.
Right.
Am I going to ask his orientation? Certainly I am. Okay. And I'm really not interested in having gay men teach at my school because that's not the agenda of my academy. There's a lot of schools out there that are exclusively for gays. There's an all-gay school in Chicago. There's an all-gay school in New York. There's one that's being developed in Atlanta. If you're a gay black male, go teach at a gay school. My school is not for that. We're not pushing sexual liberation. We're pushing the restoration of the black family.
All right. We're going to talk about Pan-Africanism as well coming up in just a little bit so that those people who may be hearing this for the first time understand the direction that you're coming from. Let's talk about the second issue, which...
But let me clarify for 5 seconds.
Please.
Although I do not support same-sex relationship, I love and care about every black person. This is important to say because I'm a psychotherapist and I have therapy clients who are homosexual. There's no discrimination. He's my brother. I have therapy clients who are women, lesbian. No discrimination. She's my sister. So I need the listeners to understand that although I may disagree with the behavior, I can separate it from the person. Just like you can separate someone's drug addiction from them, you can still love them, but dislike the addiction. Just like a Democrat disagrees with a Republican or a Christian disagrees with a Muslim, but that doesn't mean they hate them. I don't hate anybody on the basis of their sexual orientation, but I have a right to stand on my platform, which is that black men need to be married to black men.
The second issue, because 59 minutes for freaking yourself goes by so quickly. The second issue you mentioned was interracial dating.
Yes, I don't support it.
Okay, your thought on that in terms of your resume, as I've
yes, and part of that is linked to my Pan-Africanism. Part of that goes to the fact that I am a Garveyite within the political philosophy of Pan-Africanism. Again, it's about nation building, nationhood, strong black families. You cannot build strong black families marrying other people's daughters. Educated black men, statistically, are more likely to marry outside of their race more than all other men in America as a percentage marries outside of theirs.
Black men.
Yes, black men. Black men marry outside of their race more than any other man. You cannot say that's purely due to love. Because what is it about the black man that leads him, the successful black male, that leads him into marriage with women outside of our community? What's wrong with the black women that we have?
What's wrong with the black male that choose, based on your definition, to choose to marry outside of their race? Let's
then
start
again,
there.
It all depends on whether you're a nationalist or not. I'm a nationalist, a proud one, which means that I'm looking out for what's in the best interest of black people. That's my concern. We need men to father our boys and our daughters. 75% of black children are being raised by who? Single black mothers. So how can we talk about we care about single black mothers, many of whom living in poverty, raising multiple children, but at the same time we want to condone black men marrying outside of the race? It's a contradiction. You have to make up your mind. We either want to help single black mothers and we want to advocate strong black family, or we want to keep on pushing jungle fever. In the long run, what is the best interest for us? I'm not trying to save the world. I'm trying to save us. Chinese have people who are trying to save Chinese. Arabs have people who are trying to save Arabs. Latinos have people who are trying to save their community. Every culture practices an us first philosophy except black folks. And that's why we're dead last politically and economically in this country.
You know, you talked about the more successful the black man, the more likely he is to marry someone outside their race. You know, we hear that conversation, particularly as a black woman. We've had the conversation. Athletes, I'm just curious as to your thought on that, and it is so prevalent and common
and ridiculous, and it gets accepted because the black community is colorblind. We have a multicultural consciousness that nobody practices except us because we hate self. It's not acceptable for James Earl Jones or Sidney Poitier or Tiger Woods or Tate Diggs or Cuba Gooding Jr. to be marrying women who don't look like their mothers. It's unacceptable. It's wrong. Politically, it is wrong because it doesn't benefit us. If anyone wants to know what I think on any given issue, they can probably answer it themselves by asking themselves one question. Does this benefit the black community more than it hurts it, or does it hurt it more than it benefits? Interracial marriage, does it benefit us more or does it hurt us? Same-sex relationships, does it benefit us more or does it hurt us?
You may be, you know, there are those that might say to you that this does not sound any different than what David Duke would say as it relates to...
Good question. It sounds very different because David Duke is a white supremacist who believes that white people are intellectually superior to blacks. I don't teach racial superiority. I'm not a bigot in any form. I'm simply a nationalist who knows that my people are in trouble, and if we don't do something soon, we may not make it out of the 21st century. We got AIDS, we got miseducation, school to prison pipeline. 1 out of every 4 black boys getting a high school diploma. 2 out of every 4 black men are under some degree of supervision from the criminal justice system. Only 1 out of every 4 black women is getting married. We only own less than 0.5% of all the wealth in the United States. How can the people who gross $1 trillion only own a fraction of the wealth? Our wealth ownership in this country has not grown 1% since slavery 152 years ago.
Yeah. Let's get the resume, the third issue of the resume question, just to assure that we've covered them all. Go right ahead.
My resume?
Yeah.
Okay.
The resume for the application.
If they want to send a resume.
Yeah.
I thought you was asking my degree. You might as well.
Right.
But, because they need to know that.
Yeah.
FDMG resumes. Anyone who wants to work at the school, they can email their resume to fdmgresumes@gmail.com. Not only do we need teachers, we need secretaries, counselors, nurses, security guards, house parents. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of positions that will be available at the school. You don't necessarily have to be a traditional educator. And since it will be independent, you don't necessarily have to have a public teacher's certification or license.